Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new video, and today we're here for episode 3 of the F1 2021 My Team Career Mode, and we have the Canadian Grand Prix. If you didn't check out the last episode, we were in Azerbaijan, which was a thrilling race, but sadly things did not go my way as we failed to score points. But I have a big change, as you've seen in the thumbnail and the title. We have a brand new livery which I think looks absolutely stunning. It looks a lot better than the previous livery we had. Here is a little comparison before we head over to practice. Well, be sure to tell me what you actually think of the livery in the comments below. But here we are for quick practice, as I cannot be bothered doing normal practice. So let's move over to qualifying.
We're losing hydraulic pressure. There's a leak somewhere in the system. Sit tight for a bit.
Well, that isn't the greatest way to start, but anyway, we move on to my first run in qualifying 1, and I set a pretty decent lap time. It got me up into P12, but unfortunately we are not actually quicker than George Russell, so I'm gonna need a better lap to get into Q2. And we move on to the end of Q1. I'm already down in P19 and I'm not improving by much, so I go across the line and I will stay in P19, which is absolutely disappointing. For the first time in this new career mode, we are out at Q1, and I think it was gonna happen eventually. I mean, we are not the quickest car in the world. Schwartzman actually out-qualified me, so GG to him, but it's a shame we couldn't make it through. Let's go and see the grid.
With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Perez, Lando Norris and Ricciardo, Sainz, Leclerc, Gasly and Yuki Tsunoda, Fernando Alonso, Vettel, Lance Stroll and Ocon, Raikkonen, Giovinazzi, George Russell and Robert Schwartzman. The owner driver, Mick Schumacher, Latifi and Nikita Mazepin. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
So there was the full grid. Not many surprises really, but we're here now on the formation lap, on the back straight and getting ready to start the Grand Prix. I've opted to go for the medium tyres and hopefully try and drag them out and gain an advantage later on in the Grand Prix. But we're now going round the final corners. Hopefully we can get a good enough start to maybe get us in a shout of points. Also, my teammate has decided to go for the medium tyres, so if there is a safety car later on, that will really help us both out. But now we are lining up on the grid, revving up to 5 red lights here for the Canadian Grand Prix. The 5 lights are here and they are out, and we are underway here for the Canadian Grand Prix. I've immediately gone side by side with my teammate Schwartzman, and I'm looking to attack Giovinazzi and George Russell. Meanwhile, at the front, Valtteri Bottas has been pushed off the track. That is an unbelievable start for Bottas. Everyone's squirming around, trying to get around the incident. I'm going to try and take advantage. I'm up into P15, fighting with Kimi Raikkonen, but it's a horrific start for Valtteri Bottas. The championship leader is off into the grass. Raikkonen has managed to go down my inside. What a crazy start we've seen. So in the lead of the Grand Prix is Lewis Hamilton ahead of Verstappen and Sergio Perez, and the 2 McLarens follow behind them. Hamilton has a brilliant opportunity to close the gap on Bottas in the championship. Meanwhile, looks like Giovinazzi is looking to go around my outside, but I'm going to send it on Kimi Raikkonen, and I'm going to just about make the move stick. I nearly lose the rear, but thankfully I don't. I'm up into P14. This has been a great start for me. I've really taken advantage of the chaos there. And we move on to lap 3, and I'm just about trying to keep up with Esteban Ocon. It is quite tricky to keep up on the medium tyres, but I feel like I'm doing a good enough job, and DRS is enabled on this lap. and I'm looking to try maybe size up a move. Wait a minute, Ocon's got an engine failure. His engine's blown up. I'm going to go flying through into P13, and Ocon, what a disappointing race for him. He is already out of the Grand Prix. That is extremely disappointing for Alpine. Ocon has absolutely nothing he can do there. He is out of the Grand Prix, but we'll now move on. And the Red Bull of Verstappen is in trouble here from, I think that is Lando Norris, and he's actually just gone down the inside. Verstappen is really struggling. He's lost the positions to Sergio Perez and Daniel Ricciardo, and Perez and Ricciardo have caught up to Hamilton here. What is going on to the Red Bull of Verstappen? We will never know. Meanwhile, we move on to lap number 6, and Sergio Perez down the inside of Lewis Hamilton, and Checo is in the lead of the Grand Prix. That is what we all want to see, I'm sure. As we skip over to lap 8, and some of the front runners on the soft tyres are going into the pit lane, and that is a beautiful corner from me. I really don't think cornering can get any better than that, but I will move up into the top 10, and I would really appreciate if a safety car showed up conveniently here, but I'm not sure, we'll have to wait and see. But some cars have entered the pit lane and changing on to the medium tyres, and we move on to the end of lap 9 and more drivers are in. So for me, it's all about keeping it on the circuit, and surprisingly, at the end of lap 10, we are going to be leading the Grand Prix. Vettel is in the pit lane, so our first lap in the lead is here in Canada, which is quite insane to be honest, but I'm pretty sure we won't keep the lead for long, but I'll enjoy it while I can. But I am fully aware that Checo will be catching and hunting me down like a madman. He is in a Red Bull, to be fair, on fresh medium tyres, so I'm not really going to expect to fight him. He's actually done the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, so I'm definitely aware he is on the way, but I'm enjoying my time in the lead. But I'm not going to be surprised if he tries a move any minute now. Well, as we move on to the straight here, Sergio Perez will pull to the right hand side, and I will not really try and fight him too much. It's a bit too dangerous to try and fight around the outside through there. So I've let him go, and he will give me some DRS, so thank you Checo for that. But it's not going to mean much. We do not have the pace of the front runners, so the two McLarens are right behind me here, and I have to be very careful for any sudden attack that they are planning. Through turn 2 now, and look at Ricciardo already, looking to go to my right hand side, and he's going to go down the inside here through turn 3. I'm not going to make it too difficult for him, but I nearly clipped him there. Thankfully, I was able to get the car slowed down, but that is clearly a bit inconveniencing there from Ricciardo. And now Lando will go through here on the back straight. I'm not going to fight too much, since I'll be going into the pit lane anyway for another set of the medium tyres. Into the pit lane, and I do manage to get the car slowed down for the pit speed, and now let's hope the team can get me a good pit stop. But I have a feeling that with the way this race is going, we're not going to be fighting for points here today. Let's see the stop. Oh, that was actually quite a good pit stop there from the team. I hope to God that by the time we are fighting at the front of the field, or maybe in the midfield, they'll be getting those pit stops correct like that. But I'll be out of the pit lane in P17. I've actually lost quite a lot of time to George Russell and Kimi Raikkonen. I'm still ahead of Giovinazzi, but I'm behind the Williams of Russell. Meanwhile, my teammate did stay out for another lap, but it doesn't seem like he'll be any further ahead of me. But here I go on George Russell here, through the chicane. I'm going to have to cut the corner there, and we're somehow still going wheel to wheel. I let George Russell through, and now on the main straight, I'm going to have a little go on the outside line. Through turn 1, I have to go really wide, I'm onto the grass there, and now through turn 2, I'll have the inside line, and George Russell cannot defend anymore, so I'm up into P15. But the fight isn't over between me and the Williams car. As we exit the final chicane, George Russell is still catching and keeping up with me here. He's going to go down to the inside line, and he's going to really outbrake himself, and I'm just going to do the switchback and casually go back up into P15. Now I can focus on trying to catch Kimi Raikkonen. And we move on to lap 22, and I'm right behind the Alfa Romeo driver, who is on old medium tyres. I'm going to give it a go on the outside line, and he brakes. What a shame. All that catching for him to enter the pit lane. That is simply anticlimactic there from my point of view. I was really looking forward to a battle after all that catching and gaining. But we move on, and I'm up into P9 because some drivers have entered the pit lane there. Verstappen has actually come out of the pit lane behind me, and is already looking to attack down my inside. He's wasting no time to get ahead of me there. And I nearly get brake checked through the second half of the chicane, so I do lose a little bit of time there, but I'm still in the top 10. But remember, I need to make a pit stop here, so we will probably not be fighting for points, as Charles Leclerc will go steaming through there, and he is ahead into P10, looking to catch up to Max Verstappen. But for me, yeah, there's not really much to fight for here, as I still have to make another pit stop.
We're approaching the pit window. You'll be on the softs.
A few more cars have entered the pit lane, so I'm up into P9 ahead of Yuki Tsunoda, who is a few seconds down the road. But for me, I'm not going to be staying on these tyres for any longer. I'm going to pull into the pit lane, and as you heard my engineer, we'll be going on to the soft tyres. So hopefully that'll be a little fun stint that hopefully the tyres will not wear out too quickly. Let's see the pit stop. Again, the team have absolutely nailed it. 2.4 seconds, and I feel like we're probably the most reliable team in terms of pit stops here, because they are absolutely fascinating. I'm going to come out of the pit lane here, onto the pit exit, and I'm ahead of George Russell just about, and also Kimi Raikkonen is a few seconds down the road. So my teammate is actually holding up the Iceman quite a lot, and Raikkonen is going to ruin his own line trying to get ahead of him. So thank you, Robert Schwartzman, for that. Now, I can try and attack the Iceman here onto lap number 28. Down the inside of the Iceman, down the inside of the fin. And I do squeeze him off there. But I'm going to go around the outside. And that is a pretty simple move there, up into P14. But now for me, it is going to be a very long and boring race to the end, because I've got really no one to fight. And oh, Stroll has had a little spin, and he's gone round at the hairpin in his home Grand Prix. I'm not sure if he was fighting for any points, but if he was, that is absolutely frustrating for Stroll. He's now down into P13, a few seconds up the road. Maybe if I had a bit more pace, I could catch him. But since nothing is really happening on my end of the Grand Prix, I'm going to have a look through the field, see if there's anything going on. At the moment, no. We've still got Checo leading the Grand Prix. 2 McLarens are on the podium, and Hamilton, who has really dropped back there. But we move on to the penultimate lap, and really, there is nothing else that is going to happen for me unless there's a crazy crash or an engine failure. But we move on. Oh, Giovinazzi. Talk of an engine failure. Giovinazzi, his engine is gone. He's out of the Grand Prix. A little bit too late there in terms of a safety car. So this man will not be affected. Sergio Perez, in his 3rd race for Red Bull, will win the Canadian Grand Prix. Brilliant win from Red Bull today. They really did steal the show and took advantage of the earlier incident between the Mercedes. Meanwhile for me, I got really bored here today. But we're going to come through for a pretty strong P14.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
Drivers are en route to the podium as we speak. What a fantastic win for the Red Bull team. They performed exceptionally today, keeping us firmly on the edge of our seats throughout the entirety of the race. Congratulations to everyone at the team.
Well everybody, that will end today's video. Thanks all for watching and stopping by. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.
Let's take a look at the driver's standings. Our championship leader is still sat at the top of the standings, but their rivals have made up some solid ground today. Some amazing talent out on the track today. But Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
I'm going to give it to the owner driver today. Look at where they finished compared to where they started. It's not easy to cut through the field like that in Formula 1, so it was a great effort.
Let's move on to the constructors. No change in the top spot, but with today's points, their hold on the lead is getting weaker. Meanwhile, Ferrari have improved their position. A strong weekend from them as they fight their way towards the top. It's been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula 1 action. I can't wait to see what's next.
What it really means to live life golden. Yeah, we're golden, baby girl, we're golden. They're about to see us shine, 'cause we're golden. They can never break us down.